Has democracy fallen? And can we do anything to stop it? Because right now, the United States, the country that once exported democracy, can't even keep its own government open. The lights are off in Washington, the guardrails are gone, and the man in charge is using the Justice Department to prosecute his enemies.
And who's he going after this time? The man he's most jealous of, Barack Obama, the president who actually won a Nobel Peace Prize. Trump just lost his sad, self-promoted campaign for one, so now he's trying to jail the last president who did win.
That's Trump in a nutshell, right? If he can't earn it, he'll burn it. If he can't be respected, he'll demand fear. And when his ego takes a hit, democracy takes the fall.
Trump's always been the opposite man. Accuse others of what you're guilty of. So if he's screaming treason at Obama for colluding with Russia, it's really just him confessing, between Big Mac breaks and spray tan touch-ups, that I am Russia.
So true, Deb. The Kremlin's been grooming Trump since the 80s. The Moscow hotel deals, the oligarch money laundered through his properties. While Western lenders called him radioactive, the oligarchs were wiring money through his condos. He owes them billions, and now they're cashing in.
We all know Russia wanted Trump in power. He's their patsy, their buffoon, their asset. He owes them so much money, he might as well hand over the deed to the USA.
You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried, unless you were writing a political thriller that somehow got greenlit as reality. And yet, here we are, living through the sequel that nobody asked for.
Welcome back to another episode of The Planet Democracy with Dave and Deb.
Yep, it's another day in politics, and once again, we're watching the news so you don't have to.
Our job is to break it down, cut through the noise, and translate the chaos into something that actually makes sense. Ideally before your coffee gets cold.
We hope you're having a great day wherever you're tuning in from. We are ramping up the videos to give you a daily dose because, let's be honest, the dumpster fire of politics just keeps on burning and someone's got to grab the extinguisher. So, buckle up, we've got a lot to unpack today.
And speaking of dumpster fire, the US government is still shut down, and somehow that shutdown has turned into one big do not disturb sign for the powerful. House Speaker Mike Johnson is refusing to swear in Arizona Democrat who is ready to vote for the release of the Epstein files. So, while America's lights are off, accountability for the powerful is locked in the basement.
And right on cue, Donald Trump is doing what he always does when the walls start closing in. He points at someone else and yells, "Hey, look over there." Yesterday, he ordered the Justice Department to go after Obama, claiming some grand conspiracy while quietly hoping everyone forgets about his own long ties to Epstein. The modeling agency, the beauty pageants, the friendship that somehow everyone's supposed to pretend never happened.
Let's call it what it is, a distraction. Again, it's not about justice, it's about control. And when Trump lights that match, the flames don't stop at the border. The outrage, the conspiracy theories, the algorithmic nonsense, it all drifts north.
Which is exactly why we're talking about the state of democracy itself. Because when it collapses next door, it shakes the foundation under our feet up here.
So today, we're breaking down how the US has slid from democracy into dysfunction and what Canada must do to make sure we don't follow them down that same road.
So grab a coffee like we have, hit the like so more Canadians see this, and hey, let's get into it.
Because make no mistake, this isn't about politics as usual. The US government has been effectively taken over by a man who prosecutes his rivals, rewards loyalty, and rewrites the rules in real time. And now, with Dominion voting systems quietly sold to a company led by a former Republican elected official, the guardrails around American elections are starting to buckle.
The sale of Dominion isn't just business, it's a blueprint for control. First you destroy trust in the system, then you buy the system. The company Trump's allies once accused of rigging the vote now belongs to his political side. And that's how democracy dies, with a trademark stamp on it.
Which brings us to the question every democracy has to ask. If the United States can fall this fast, what's protecting Canada and what's our plan at the floodwaters rise?
Because the truth is, we're not immune. When democracy cracks next door, the pressure, it seeps north. And here at home, you can already see the fissures. You have Daniel Smith in Alberta, Scott Moe in Saskatchewan, Pierre Poilievre in Ottawa, all testing how far they can push the line before Canadians stop them.
Just look at what happened in Alberta. A jaw-dropper poll claimed separatist support was surging under a new Republican Party. But dig a little deeper and surprise, surprise, the party leader once owned the polling company behind the numbers.
It's straight out of the Trump playbook, isn't it? Manufacture the poll, push the headline, and call it momentum. In the States, it's Fox and Newsmax. Here, it's Cardinal Research and the so-called Alberta Republicans.
It's not just shady, it's dangerous. Polls don't measure opinion, they shape it. They move money, influence coverage, and create the illusion of inevitability. That's how movements built on anger and fiction start to feel real.
People don't need to be forced into believing propaganda anymore. They volunteer for it. All it takes is one headline that confirms their worst fears, one poll that makes them feel outnumbered, and suddenly the narrative becomes reality.
Let me set the scene for you. You see a poll claiming separatist support is surging, and the thought creeps in. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe I'm the one out of touch. Maybe Canada really is falling apart. That's how propaganda works. It doesn't convince you overnight, but it makes you doubt what you already know.
Because the goal isn't to make you believe a lie, it's to make you question the truth. The more chaos, the easier the control. And when people give up on believing facts exist at all, democracy doesn't need to be overthrown, it just quietly stops functioning.
And that's how ordinary citizens get drafted into the disinformation army, not through force, but through fatigue. It's exhausting to fact-check every claim, so people start choosing comfort over clarity. And before long, it's all corrupt anyway becomes the new national anthem.
And this isn't an isolated case. Smith poised with separation, Moe blames Ottawa for everything but the weather, and Poilievre, well, he parrots Trump's lies about corruption and broken systems. It's the same message with a different accent. Trust no one, burn it all down, and follow the strongman who promises to fix it.
But before you buy the doom, ask yourself and the loudest voice at your dinner table, are you actually that bad off? Come on. I've had my brother's buddies complain that Canada's a write-off while driving me home in a $100,000 truck, running their own company, and living mortgage-free.
And I've heard, oh, we're living in tyranny from the deck of $1 million house while sipping $200 scotch. So let's be honest, is life really that bad, or are we being sold someone else's crisis?
But that's the power of propaganda. It doesn't just make you angry, it makes you ungrateful. It convinces comfortable people they're oppressed and that the real enemy is their own government instead of the billionaires and politicians who are feeding the outrage.
Listen, Canada's not perfect, but if you're safe, fed, working, and free to say that this country is broken without getting arrested for it, congratulations, you're not living in tyranny. You're living in one of the freest nations on Earth.
Canada's still standing, but the warning lights are flashing. The question isn't if democracy can fall here, it's whether we'll notice before it does.
Which is why it's so dangerous when our own leaders pretend it's all falling apart. Danielle Smith hints at a separation vote and then blames Ottawa for everything from pipelines to power bills. And Pierre Poilievre, well, he's out there talking about war zones and corrupt cops, recycling the same fear-based lines Trump uses down in the States.
The irony is, Smith keeps getting what she wants. The Trans Mountain Pipeline is online, and talks are already underway to revive the Keystone expansion. But pipelines aren't everything.
This country isn't just oil and gas. It's wind on the coast, tides in the Bay of Fundy, solar across prairies, hydro from Quebec, and innovation everywhere in between.
That's the future we should be fighting for, not another round of grievance politics dressed up as sovereignty.
It's the same formula, isn't it? Convince comfortable people they're victims, convince angry people that they're heroes, and turn democracy into a grievance machine.
Meanwhile, the rest of us still have public health care, functioning schools, free speech, clean water, and a say in how we're governed.
So the US may be sliding into authoritarianism, but Canada doesn't have to follow. We've seen this movie before, haven't we? Fear, corruption, disinformation, and we know how it ends. The trick is refusing to play the role that they've written for us.
Listen, democracy doesn't survive on autopilot. It needs defenders, people who fact-check, vote, speak up, and demand better. The good news? Canada still has leaders who believe in those basics.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has been clear about that. He's not perfect, but you know what? He's steady, working with allies, rebuilding trust, and investing in industries that keep this country both free and forward-looking.
And let's be honest, Carney's a centrist. If this were the Canada of the old progressive conservatives, he'd be their leader. Fiscal discipline, social stability, and economic growth. It's classic Canadian common sense.
But today's conservatives, they just keep yelling. They've become so blinded by outrage that they don't even know what they're yelling about anymore.
And the wildest part is they've already got everything that they claim to want. They're living in the Canada they say they want, but they're too angry to notice.
Canada added 60,000 jobs last month, even as Trump's tariffs hit our auto and steel sectors.
And instead of throwing tantrums on social media, Carney's been doing the work. He's been backing up those industries with emergency support while locking in new trade routes in Europe, Mexico, and across Asia.
Even Beijing and New Delhi, two capitals that froze us out a year ago, are back at the table. China signaling it's ready to drop its canola tariffs if Canada eases up on EV duties, and Mark Carney is managing the impossible, rebuilding the trade relations with India without bending the knee.
While the U.S. picks fights with its allies, bombs fishing boats in international waters, claims peace deals while making money deals behind the scenes, and sending troops into its own cities, Canada's stitching the relationships back together.
It's not screaming about traitors or chasing power. It's protecting people, opportunity, and the planet we share.
So while Trump's out there threatening allies and cozying up to dictators, war criminals, and billionaires who belong on watch lists, Carney's signing trade deals with Europe, the UAE, and Latin America. He's betting on renewables, digital infrastructure, and democratic partnerships.
Canadians get to choose which world we want to live in. One ruled by outrage or one led by reason.
So the next time someone tells you Canada's broken, ask them, compared to what? A country where healthcare bankrupts families, where leaders jail their predecessors, where billionaires write the laws?
And that's the tragedy of today's politics. People are so addicted to being angry, they can't recognize progress when it's staring them right in the face.
And that's why Canada's center, the reasonable, compassionate, fact-checking middle, has never mattered more. Because if the extremes keep shouting, it's the middle that holds the country together. The truth is, democracies don't fall in a single day. They erode one distraction, one lie, one shrug at a time.
And that's exactly what authoritarians count on. Exhaustion. They don't need you to believe every lie. They just need you to stop caring about which ones are true.
But here's the thing. Canada still has tools that most countries lost long before democracy cracked. We've still got a free press, independent courts, public health care, and a population that overwhelmingly believes in fairness, compassion, and empathy.
So amplify the voices fighting for democracy. Claus Kellerman, Gard de Leaf, The Rational National, Charlie Angus, The Bill Kelly Podcast, and others who dig for facts instead of clicks. For USA channels, check out Politics Girl and the Midas Touch Network and Democracy Now! And if you know others, then leave your favorites in the comments. We want to hear them.
So has democracy fallen yet, Dave? Not yet, but it's wobbling. And whether it stands or falls depends on what we all do next. And the best way to keep democracy alive? Stay informed, stay loud, and stay proud to be Canadian. Don't let imported anger drown out common sense.
And don't be silent. The left's been polite, quiet, and trying to reason with chaos for far too long. And clearly, that hasn't worked.
Democracy doesn't need whispers. It needs voices.
Yes. So join the fight. Grab some of our merch and wear our t-shirts loud and proud. Or join the A-Team and subscribe to our Substack for deep dives that you won't see anywhere else.
So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell to tell the algorithm that truth still trends in Canada. Every post, every comment, every share tells the algorithm that Canadians still care about facts, fairness, and the future.
Power listens when people organize. Whether it's a climate protest, a healthcare rally, or a sovereignty march, every crowd sends a message. Canadians, we're awake. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next time, team. And remember, stay informed and go Blue Jays!